Okay, well, apologies for any people who randomly got into the stream earlier in the day. Turns out that I had the audio settings set up incorrectly for my headset, and so everything that I said during about 3 to 4 hours of streaming, it turns out did never go through, and I wasn't able to find out about that until I uploaded to YouTube, and then kind of wondered why my how come my videos are completely silent. And then I noticed that I was in the editor and hit the end of line, and all of a sudden I heard a ding, and I realized, okay, it was picking up the computer audio, but nope, was completely missing my headset. So I had to scrap everything that I did from earlier in the day. Very irritating. So I had to delete the last couple of hours that I recorded, but oops, turn off this thing here. Sorry, I was just Twitch just kind of woke up and started playing my voice back at me with about a 15-second delay, and I'm like, oh, I don't think I want to hear that. I don't think you want to hear my voice too, but it'll probably make it a little bit easier as you watch me do coding and stuff. We're gonna go ahead and continue the work that unfortunately you're not going to be able to see because you can't hear my explanations of what I'm doing, so it'd be a very boring 3 hours. Yes, thank you for telling me now. That information would have been useful about 3 hours ago. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to resume working on our custom monster. So where am I sitting, by the way? So I am in my gun shop, and I am, let's get into where we have our Berserk. Hello, DNA. We have our Berserk Hauler. Okay, so this guy, so just to review for the, because this entire context is now missing from the live stream. Earlier in the day, I kind of dusted off a builder area that I have in my my PMD, and I created a ore hauler, and the ore hauler is going to attack me when I bring him into the room. Okay, and what I did is that I adjusted him so that it has equipment that is customized rather than the stuff that's on all of the company NPC and the company droids. So he's got
Where the hell have you been, soldier?
oh my god.
Training,
I'm gonna have to turn that down.
What kind of training, son?
Army training.
Army training, sir.
What you just heard was Nigel's. You just heard Nigel's entry sound. So there's a couple of people that when they log into the game, people have sound-capable MUD clients get to hear their little entrance theme. So that was Nigel's. Okay. So the hauler has custom armor. Now I need to give him a custom weapon, and the way it works is that just let me kind of demonstrate again. So any monster or NPC that is a you farging bastard, you cork-sucking ice hole. You summoning batch. I can't remember what else the guy said from Johnny Dangerously. Anyway, let's clone one of these other characters like Lullums. Okay, so if we clone in Lullums, he's a NPC, and the way NPCs work is that if the coder who makes the character does not choose to give him any equipment, then the NPC is going to have custom, or excuse me, you have like generic company armor, and he will have either 1 or 2 weapons depending on what his level is. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of him. Bye bye Lullums. And so our Berserk Hauler has armor. Now he needs weapons. So what we need to do is let's go ahead now and make my other window. So everybody can see. What we're going to do here is that we're going to go to our NPC. What directory am I sitting in here? Okay, yeah, we need to go in NPC equipment. All right, so all of the NPCs and droids and stuff in the game will have this NPC gun. Where is it? I'm sure I got it right here. Probably this guy right here. So let's take a look at that. So this is probably what I'm going to have to... Yeah. So we're going to take this gun. We're going to make a copy of it because it's got a lot of code that we already need to borrow. And we're going to bring it back into Object, Standard, Realms, Gray, Items. And I'm going to call it... I'll just call it the Holler Gun. Nope. Alright, let me do it. Where are we here? Let me see. Let me figure this out here. So, copy gun to... Fine. Realms, Gray, Items, Holler Gun. Alright, so we're here in glorious Unix. And let's edit this guy. Okay, we'll kind of take away the comments that don't apply because, oh my god, I made this back in 2007. Okay. Alright, so this will be a gun because I don't want to, at this time, I don't want to reintroduce melee weapons of the game, although I probably could, but let's see here. Plasma. Okay. Okay, use ammo, yada yada yada. Okay. Okay, so we're going to have to figure out what are we going to call the weapon that is used by the ore hauler. Let's call it... I'm going to call this a laser drill. And the ID... So we'll start with the short, right? So it's going to be N or Holler laser drill. And then the IDs will be Now, hollers don't drill, but I gotta give him something that looks kind of in character because I gotta have him be able to wield something. Otherwise, it'd be kind of embarrassing for a berserk or holler to get his ass kicked by a player. So, let's see. Let's see this large, clunky. Unwieldy piece of equipment was apparently, I'm just kind of making this stuff along as I go. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Made for either a six-fingered man, reference to so Princess Bride people might figure that out, or a you know what? I've had a couple drinks, so I'm not even going to try to spell ambidextrous. So, or a company ore hauler. It has multiple triggers and has seen many hours of use. Good enough. Just a couple of sentences just to get things going here. All right. Now we go back to the game. Bring that up to the front. It's kind of odd. Is that right? Unwieldy. Oh, did I typo something? Someone said unwieldy. Did I? Edit the thing. Did I say? Oh, yep. Somebody caught a typo. Thank you. Unwieldy. Okay. fix that typo. All right, let's go ahead and okay, let's first make sure that the thing okay, and I'll have to approve it. Where's the error? Where is it? Okay, so let's take a look at the ore hauler laser drill. Can I look at it with that? There you go. Yep. Large, clunky, unwieldy, spelled correctly, piece of equipment was apparently made for either a six-fingered man or a company ore hauler. Multiple triggers, many hours of use. Okay. Yeah, so for anybody who's actually watching or listening to the, well, obviously, if you're listening, you can't hear my voice in game, but if you're watching and listening to the stream and you're also logged into the game, there will be a significant delay between the game and what's happening on Twitch, because my computer is having to take all this information, compress it, push it out to Twitch, and then Twitch pushes it out to you. Technology is great. All right, let's go back to the editor. Now we have to edit our creature to use this thing. So we're going to go to Builder, DNA, Gray. There's our hauler. And all we have to do is we just kind of use this line here as a basis for it. So again, this is kind of like in the, I guess I really can't say again, because in the earlier live stream I explained why I developed this system about the automatic equipment and about how it really wasn't being used, because it's such a pain in the ass to have to manually create all these pieces of equipment and then equip them on the critters. So the vast majority of monsters and NPCs in the game, up until a few years ago, the vast majority of them did not have any equipment on them. So one of the changes that I made was a while back is that I made this automatic NPC equipment, so that if the creature had a race that was humanoid, then it would have a company equipment on here, and it would have a company weapon. So that really helped out, helped balance the game. So now we're going to take this gun and we are going to move it to our inventory, and we are going to do there's another command called wield all. So rather than trying to remember, okay, wield gun in right hand, we can just type wield all and that'll take care of it. Let me go back to the game. Sorry, I'm just kind of adjusting my chair. Nigel is commenting on my so I'm using this program called FaceRig for the little in-game for the little character you see in the upper right hand corner. I actually can do different things. Let's see here. Let's be, since it's New Year's Eve. Oh, where is it? It's New Year's Eve. So let's be the little New Year's Eve baby. Hello, I'm hunting for you. Okay, this is kind of creepy, so I'm gonna not run for this tonight. But yeah, that's the New Year's Eve guy, I guess. Well, actually, he's more appropriate for Valentine's Day, but some New Year's Eve, like Father Time, like gets resurrected as a baby. Yeah, FaceRig. I tell you what, so one of my so the wife of my CEO, every now and then I'll take pictures of wild turkey out of my backyard and I'll send her a picture, and she absolutely hates turkey. There's something about turkey that just like creeps her out. It's hysterical. Like, I'll send her a picture and I was like, I snapped this out of my backyard, out of my my kitchen patio, like, 5 minutes ago, and there's like a dozen wild turkey just walking through my yard. And she's like, oh my god, I'd move away if I had all these, turkey, and they're so scary. And so, um, so anyway, I one time I invited her to a WebEx, and I had FaceRig, and I had FaceRig go, and I brought up a turkey, and it was hysterical. So yeah, so yeah, she does not like turkey at all. So let's see, what's the other one I can do? So yeah, FaceRig has got some funny characters you can do. If I had done this on New Year's, or excuse me, if I had done this on Christmas, I'd be the Christmas gift character, which really isn't very in character for coremud. So I decided not to go with this one for any of my live streams. So Christmas gift character is probably not going to happen for very often. Let's see here. If we have, if I was doing an Assassin's Creed thing, I'd be this guy, with the hood. Um, you want to mess with me, pal? Huh? You want to mess with me? I'll nuke you. I got the button. I used it. I used it on Steve a lot. Dude, don't mess with me. All right, so that's my assassin character. Let's see here, and there's some other stuff. Let me just go back to my this dude, because he's wearing a tie, and that's like a company vice president, so I have to wear a tie. Okay. Oh, Jacane needs a upgrade. Deer turkey, yeah. Hang on, my mouse thing, he just fell down here. Hang on. Okay. Turkey. Yep. Yeah, I tell you what, the deer. The deer messed up. Yeah, so I had some deer come by, and one of them killed one of my pear trees that I had just planted in the spring, and I didn't have a cage around it, so it decided to um, rub its antlers on the tree. It broke the tree trunk in half. And now I have to plant a new one next spring and put a fence around it. Let's see. Okay, do you have the upgrades handy? Okay, so what I need to do, we need to go to Builder, DNA. Alright, so I need to, since I'm a tech rank A, I need to help out Jacane. Just kind of wrap up this little thing here. So update the hauler and clone him. And is he... He's using his laser drill. Okay, cool. And the last thing I need to do to fix him is I need to change his combat chats so that it actually says Holler says or Holler screams or whatever. Let's do that real quick. So let's bring this back up to the foreground, and let's go. Now I could do it through the DNA tool. However, if I use the DNA tool and then I save... if I save the file, it's going to overwrite all of this stuff is going to be overwritten. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to edit this thing right here. So we're going to change this. I'm going to format it so it'll be easier to read here. So what I'm going to do is this is perfectly legitimate to do in the MUD code. MUD code doesn't care about carriage returns in terms of the when you're defining and in this case this is a array that we're defining, and the way you interpret this array is that it's actually the first value that we see here is the percentage chance of him saying something. So every time there's a combat round, yes, he's talking about yeah, meat bags right there. It says die meat bag. Yes. Let's see. So we can say Holler sneers. Now, if we want to have quotes, so like for example, when a player talks, a player will have, as you can, well, can't really see very well on my screens that way I have a tile, but usually when a player talks in the room, there's quotations around whatever they say. So if I wanted to mimic that with the monster, I need to have quotes around what he's saying. To do it in code, we have to escape it by putting a backslash like that. So holler sneers die meatbag. We'll say holler cries. We'll say yells. Death to the, yep, HK. Exactly. HK is one of my favorite characters from KOTOR. And now since we're doing two, let's see, you know what? Since it's 2 exclamation points, we'll go holler screams. And then holler yells. Have you ever heard an or holler say anything? No, but soon you will. Yes. Let's get back to... Yeah, you know the thing, you know what I really love about, I think it was Knights of the Old Republic 1, where HK was first. Was it? When did Jacane, when did HK make his debut? Was it KOTOR 1 or KOTOR 2? I remember the story where you first encounter him, and he's talking about how he's, you know, all the people in the facility that he was in, you know, had these mysterious deaths. At the very end, when everything's kind of unraveling, and he's kind of basically fessing up, he's admitting that he's the one that's responsible for killing all of the scientists or whoever was in this facility. I think it was like scientists and stuff. And he's talking about how he herds them into this room, and he turns off the air conditioning in this room, and then he vented the poison and all of this. Oops. Nigel caught another typo. Boy, I'm just... I am not on my game tonight. Let's see. Is it right? Yes. Yeah, he's right. All right. We'll give a cookie to Nigel. Nigel gets a cookie. All right. So Jacane confirms KOTOR 1. Yeah. So that's just that whole little sequence with HK 47 or whatever his name was. That sequence is like years later. I can't remember the last time I played that game, but it still sticks in my head in terms of that whole feeling, and the way he's just kind of sneering about it, and he's proud of what he did, and about he pulled one over the meat bags. It's awesome. Okay, let's take the holler, and let's make sure I'm not too damaged, and let's make sure my gun is okay. Let's clone him. He's gonna attack me. Let's see if he... There we go. Now he's yelling. Okay. This is the pre-built one. So again, any droid will say that. By the way, this is also an episode. What is this from? Oh, that's from that really awful Hook movie that Disney did. I think it was Disney. Okay, let's see. I gotta clone him again, and I just want him to... There we go. Sneers, die meatbag. Okay, so the quotations are happening properly. He's getting cookies. Nigel got a cookie. Awesome. All right. And by the way, here's a combat mechanic that's not entirely obvious. Yeah, I think I've got... I think I have KOTOR on Steam too, or one of my... maybe I have it on my tablet. I don't know. I remember buying it a couple years back, just for the nostalgia. Um, when a creature has a limb severed, the act of severing actually does additional damage to the creature. So even though I was the only person attacking the creature, I did 61% of the total damage. The other 39% was done by the severing that happened. So it's probably a little bit much, but that's a mechanic of it. Um, okay, and then for those of you who were not able to hear me during the earlier live stream, because I was a moron and didn't have my audio set up properly, company hard hat, fast steady special. Okay, there must be some of this stuff is not. Some of this inventory is not correct. Okay, so what I did is that if we get these limbs, what I did in the live stream earlier today is if the race of a monster who has a limb severed is a droid race, then the limb will now be a mechanical object rather than a biological object. So if we go to the Northeast Merchant Dome, go to the clinic, ring the bell, try to process a limb. If I type it right. Ew, it should not have done that. Something is a no worky here. It should not be doing that. What happened? Let me go back. That is not right. Let me double check this, that this is working the way it should, because earlier in the day I fixed it so that when a droid first verify that his race is, he's a droid race, okay. And did he drop any limbs? No. So now it's properly generating a pile of nuts and bolts rather than his a corpse. Okay, the equipment that's in his loot is correct. And also there's a signal cable which was randomly generated. That is, if a creature is a droid race, there's a chance of getting a signal cable, so that is correct. So that's good to see. But I want to see, I need to see a limb get severed. And I want to see that, okay, here we go, left foot got severed. Okay, good. Alright, let's get that limb. Let's go to the clinic. Okay, that's not what I want to do. So I think there's another step that I have to do. So there may be, I think the clinic code may not be quite working the way I thought it would, because if we leave out of here and let's see, where is our where is the refinery here? Southward Retail, East Company. Where the hell am I? Let's go southwest. All right. Refinery southeast, here we go. And then we go to the southern panel. Okay, so we're in the refinery. Let's go ahead and clone another holler and kill it until we get a limb. Squoy wabbit. I'll tell you whim from whim. Alright, right arm is severed. Okay, so the droid limbs are now smeltable. So that was the change that I made this earlier today, is that I made another object that if the race of the monster is a droid type race, then the limb that gets severed is a completely different object. It's metallic in nature, and the smelter will accept it. So the problem I have to solve now is I have to figure out... Oh, get the pile, by the way. I don't mean Gomer pile. Pile of nuts and bolts. Am I carrying too much? Maybe I'm carrying too much. Let's see here. What am I carrying? Because that should be allowing me to... Let's see. Smelt. Hauler helmet. Pile of nuts and bolts now. I can. Alright, I'll smelter Gomer pile. Surprise, surprise, surprise! Okay. Alright, so I got all that stuff out of here, and I'm carrying an empty bottle. I'll worry about that later. Okay, so now what I have to do is I have to figure out why the clinic is accepting the metallic limb, which it should not. It should only be accepting biological limbs. So there's probably something to do where Eastern, oops, which one is it? Clinic. Okay, so let's take a look at the clinic code, and we're going to take a look also at the droid code to see what our problem is. Okay. So the room that I'm in inherits standard clinic, so let's go to that file. And let's go look at the, we need to look at the function that's invoked by when somebody types the word process. And that is, in fact, int process. Alright, so when somebody types process limb, it comes here. Alright, and we need to look at what happens if object. Okay, this is for corpse stuff. Alright. Alright, this here is determining the bounty type. So if we fall down here to bounty type 2, that means it's a limb. Object limb, present limb. Okay. Alright, I think I know what needs to be done here. So it is, yeah, it's just looking, it's checking to see if it has the ID of limb, and that means that if a player in fact, I'm going to have to do that right now. If a player logs on with the name of limb and happens to enter the clinic with me, I could process him and immediately kill him. That would be bad. So what we need to do instead is there needs to be a bozo check. So if it is limb, let's go find it again. Alright. If not ob, let's do this. We're going to change this. So we're going to put a, this is now going to be a block, a code block, because we have to do multiple checks in here. We say, alright, ob is present limb this player. Now, there should be only one object that correlates to a biological limb, and that would be the standard object body part object. So what we're going to have to do, let me just verify in my other screen here. Standard object, and it's, I believe it is this file right here. Yeah. So standard object body part is the object that is the only object that is a limb that clinics should be able to process. Okay, so we're going to add a check for that, and here's how we do that in the LPC programming language. So we say if ob, okay, so we say, okay, if we found a object that's a limb, then we say if base name base name is a built-in function that basically says, okay, strip off the sequential object ID number that's assigned by the game. Just give me the file name. Is not equal to standard object body part, and we omit the .c at the end. So when we refer to these LPC objects, the .c at the end of the file name is assumed, so you don't have to put that in. Then we say we're going to go ahead and we're going to say we'll do that. So let's see if that is sufficient to fix our problem. So update standard clinic, no typos. I'm going to update here. Let's see. Okay. Let's go ahead now. Let's go back and get another holler destroyed. Severing? No, we didn't. Alright, so we're going to do that again. I forgot I did this. I'm being repressed! Okay, come on. Come on. Lose a hand. Nope. How am I doing on my... Actually, I'm doing okay, alright? I don't need to... Alright, anybody know the reference here? Holler needs food badly. Man. Come on, lose a limb already. I'm going to pretend that I'm mech and I'm hitting enter all the time. Oops. Man, I'm actually I'm being too efficient. What the hell is this? Gray is picking on me. I guess that was probably Nigel messing with me. Nope. I am still not getting any... So anyway, that was... Oh. I forgot what I was going to say. There was a reference. There was a combat message reference. I'll have to slip in some more references. I'll have to probably update the code a little bit more, so my movie references here are a little bit dated. Man. Alright, I'll have to do this the hard way. So let's go standard object clone droid limb. Now the limb that's in my inventory right now is it even visible? Let's see, what do I have? It should be listed. I think it should be listed as other. Yeah, here we go. The 0 of 0, alright? And then we have the left hand. Now the left hand of Holler, I think that's one of the older limbs that I had. So if I were to process left hand of Holler, okay, cool. I think this works. Okay. I probably have to, I think I'm going to have to regression test both ways. So, let's kill that roach. because roaches are bad, okay?
Roaches are bad. Don't do the marijuana. Marijuana's bad, okay? Okay. If you see a roach, you gotta kill it, okay?
That's exactly right, Nigel. You just got the reference. Nigel, when Holler said Holler needs food badly, that was a reference to console game Gauntlet. Elf needs food badly. Blue Wizard needs food badly. Do we have any... oh, there's a card chit. Ooh, there's ore. I'll take the ore before Nigel takes it. Let's see here. Do I still have that shit or not? That's going to be big money. Alright, we'll talk about core quad another time. Let's see, do I have any limbs? We don't have any limbs around here. Okay. Oh, more ore. Awesome. Okay. What do we got here? We still got to get some more. We need to do now. I need to verify that that the change I made to the clinic code is not going to break if we have some non-droid monster that's killed. So who would be somebody that we would want to kill? That would be, let's see here. Who would be somebody that I could kill? Oh, let's kill Talone, because Talone's a bastard. Hey man, I'm a pacifist. You can't attack me. This is a reference to somebody who tried to fuck up my game years ago. Okay, he's dead and now he's a true pacifist. Okay. Do we have any limbs here? Okay. Just makes me happy seeing the corpse of Talone. Alright, so he didn't sever any limbs. Let's see what else we got here. Wastoid rats. Is this rat elite? Yes. So when you look at a monster and it says attacking could cause his skills and stats to change, and I think I didn't put that in there explicitly. I think that is automatic. Yeah, so when you see that, that means it's an elite monster who's going to inflate. And this one in particular is not going to be hard. So he's a -6. So he's going to be 6 levels. He's going to inflate. Okay, Mr. Mackey. Okay. Let's see. I think I talked about elite critters in a previous live stream, but if something is tagged as elite, then it will inflate up to your level from what it started with, and then you can put a plus or minus modifier. Let's see, did we get any limbs? No. All right, we'll have to do it the hard way again. It's clone, standard, object, body part, process, limb. Okay, that took it. So when we have the biological body part, even though it didn't have a owner name or a limb name defined, it still took it. So but if I go clone, standard object, droid limb, and try to process that, that's not allowed. And we only need one auto. So we had an extra auto because I did an update in the room and auto was still sitting here. So let's go ahead. So I think we're in a good shape here. Where am I? North northeast quadrant. We need to go back to where the smelter is. Refinery, sorry. Eastern, southern panel refinery. All right, what do we have to smelt? So we got a bunch of stuff, right? We have, we got a couple corpses here we need to get rid of. Smelt our hauler helmet. Okay. I have to approve the hauler laser drill. So let's do that. So we do that. All right. That way, if people kill the hauler, they'll be able to. Oops. Let's go ahead and smelt that. Alright, so now everything that the ore hauler carries is approved for players to pick up so that they can take it back and get it smelted, get a little bit of money if they can carry it, which they're not going to be able to. If they wipe out the area that I'm building, they're not going to be able to do everything, but that's okay. This is the 0 of 0, right? Okay. And let's do the check on the other way. So if I clone standard object body part and try to smelt that, that's going to say, nope, that doesn't have any metal. You can't smelt it. And that's exactly what's supposed to happen. All right, good. Bottle. Okay, so let's go back to the clinic because I have a few things that I have to get rid of out of my inventory. All right, Nigel asks a good question. You know what? I don't have that answer memorized, so we will take a look. I think that there's a minimum so that if you put a negative... I think that when the inflation code happens, it's not going to be able to be less than level 1. So we'll test that. We'll check that in just a minute. I will pull up the code on that right now. So let's take a look. So we've been talking a little bit about elite monsters. It's been a topic of discussion over the years. So the way it works is that we have this file called standard monster, and all NPCs, monsters, mobs, critters, whatever you want to call them, all of them inherit this file. And I actually did this back in 10 years ago. Almost 11, actually. So this was January 29, 2006, and we are marching towards midnight of January 1st, 2017. So for those of you listening, this MUD first launched the stroke of midnight on January 1st, 1996. So I had been working on it throughout 1995 and decided that on New Year's Eve, December 31, 1995, when stroke of midnight is when I declared the MUD open. We had a kind of a soft launch where a couple of players and coders were participating and stuff, leading up to the official launch. It was kind of cool. Let's see here. So let's get to where this code actually takes effect. Now, the first thing that I see here is that even though my file, my test rat, had a -6 defined, -4 is the highest, the lowest you can go. Now, what I think I need to do a check for the opposite direction. I can see here that there's nothing here that prevents me from going higher than 4. So let's see here. Let's fix that right now. I should have noticed this some time ago. So we're going to go if x is greater than 4. And if you set a monster to elite 4, you're being a real bastard. In fact, I'm going to change that. We're going to say 3. This is basically saying that you're trying to make it so that the player is trying to... Well, you know what? Not necessarily. I just thought about the world boss concept in Star Trek, the old Star Wars, the Old Republic. They have this world boss concept. We'll cap it at 4 levels higher. So if you're attacking something 4 levels higher than you, maybe you want to bring a friend or two. So we'll add that. Now, set elite is a plus or minus adjustment. That adjustment gets checked, and then it sets an internal variable called elite adjustment. And then extra tough also gets set. Extra tough basically says, okay, if extra tough is set to 1, then the it's going to inflate or deflate as needed. So we're going to be checking. We're going to do a search for extra tough for that variable. And we're going to see where extra tough gets taken into account. Okay, so it's been a long time since I've looked at this code, but the way it works is that inflation can expire. So here's the problem that we were trying to avoid. We had a situation where when the game was at its peak population, and we had elite monsters in public spaces that multiple players could encounter. And we had level 5 players logged on and level 60 players logged on. And the concern was a level 60 player would attack a monster, cause it to inflate to 60, and then run out of the room, and then a level 5 newbie walks in and gets slaughtered. Because he's getting attacked by level 60 and he has no chance of winning against a level 55 difference. So code was added to basically inflate and deflate according to a timer. So the idea is that if 120 seconds go by and the monster hasn't been attacked, hasn't dealt any damage, hasn't received any damage, he actually deflates back to his original level. And then another player comes along, attacks him, and then he readjusts to whatever that player's level is. So that's the whole idea behind this timer. So it internally keeps track of the last time he inflated or deflated or whatever, and then it's keeping track of all the players that have encountered him, and it is trying to figure out all this junk. So let's see if, according to Nigel's question, which is a very excellent question, is there anything in here that would cause the level to go negative? So is it possible to reset the level according to a negative number? And I think I know the answer to that, because I can see here that in every case when we adjust the level, we're invoking a function called setLevel. So if setLevel has a check in it, a bozo check that says you can't pass a negative number or 0 number, then that's going to be sufficient for our needs. So let's check exactly that. So let me just verify. What is this function here? This function, where am I? This is in the heartbeat. Okay. So heartbeat, we talked about. Well, actually, you couldn't hear me because I was on mute earlier today. This is the function that gets checked. You know, if the combat timer is working on the 32-bit server, then this wouldn't be. This would work, but let's see where else we do our inflation. Some skill adjustments. What does this say? Inflate the weapons. Oh yeah. Set that. Is elite. Yes. Setting the elite. Kill the object. Okay. Okay. This is the part that does the inflation, I think. This is checking the what this is doing is this is kind of getting under the covers here. Query high level. Okay. Okay, yeah. Right here. Elite adjustment is being now this here is where so the elite adjustment takes that this is basically the value that's being passed from, let's say like my test rat. So my test rat had an elite -6, and let's say we're being attacked by a player who is level 1. Based on that query, we can see we're getting the attacker's strength, the attacker's dexterity. We're kind of getting in the weeds here. So this is some of the stuff we normally don't expose to players, but hey, if you're watching the live stream, here you go. This here, yeah, this will prevent it going negative. So we say if the computed, so the variable high level is the computation of taking the attacker's level plus whatever the elite adjustment is. If that computation is greater than the monster's inherent base level, then it's going to inflate. Now, because in the case of this fictional example of a -6 being attacked by a level 1, so it ought to deflate. This block of code will not be invoked because a -6 is going to will not pass this particular Boolean check here. So this part doesn't work. But unfortunately, this part here is going to be done, and it is going to effectively reduce the dexterity and the strength. So I do need to fix this. So I think what needs to happen is, how do I do this? I'm trying to think about how do I effectively do it so that if the high level, I do not want this high level calculation to be negative or 0. So if it's 0 or less, we don't want to do anything. So what we're going to add a little check here. This is going to be we're going to call this the Nigel check. Okay. So the Nigel check is do not deflate if the attacker's level is lower than the elite adjustment. So we say if elite adjustment is less than or equal to 0, just bail out. Don't do anything. Okay? And that will prevent all of this code. Oh, actually, you know what? I need to do, instead of returning, I need to do that. I need to return inherited return, and let's do that. Sorry, this particular function has more stuff under the covers, so we're just going to do that, and you'll have to take me on face value at that. Yeah. So killob is an integer, and the combat code expects either like a 0 or a 1. And basically, the value that is returned by this function is going to say whether the attack is allowed or not. So if the attack is allowed, in addition, we want all this junk to happen. So an example of a disallowed attack would be if a critter is denoted as immortal. Let's say it is a quest monster that must not be killed under any circumstances. Or something deemed essential to the game, like, for example, the shopkeeper droid. One of the people that was permanently banned from this game and is never invited to come back is somebody who decided to go around to all of the shops and kill all of the shopkeeper droids. Because back then, I was too trusting and allowed the shopkeeper droids to be killable. At the time, they didn't respawn, so some bastard just decided to just gimp the game and kill off all the shopkeeper droids, basically rendering the economy dead, and then bragged about it. So let's add this to the comment. We'll say, how do I say this? Elite deflation is not possible for, how do I say it? Cannot bring the monster level less than 1. Let's say it like that. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's bring the game back up. Let's make sure I didn't commit any typos. Okay, that's an important one. We need to change log that one. Something like that. Okay, well that was a good change. Okay, I can't remember what we got on. Oh, that's right. I was trying to test the severing stuff, huh? 8 holler helmets, 2 fast Eddie specials, and a signal cable in a tree. Oop, get the ore. Alright, let's just go ahead and get rid of all this junk here. Okie dokie. Let's move on, shall we? By the way, where am I in my, I got a roach quest. How many more do I gotta kill, I gotta get 6 more roaches. Oh, there we go. Excellent. We got a limb, so we can do the reverse test. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go to the, let's see, we're going to go to refinery, and we're going to make sure that we cannot smelt that limb. Okay, it says, okay, you cannot do that. That's exactly what I want to see. Let's go ahead and get that corpse while I'm at it. Alright, then we go into the clinic here. Process the corpse. Alright, that's fine. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. Hey, this is a good test of the code that I added earlier today in the earlier live stream that you couldn't hear, that I had to delete. Okay. The machine has exceeded 1,000 wear points. So right now it's basically broken. So let's initiate a reset. So this reset will happen every 30 minutes automatically. It's somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes. I don't remember the exact timer. And the change I made earlier today will, for the company-owned clinic, not for player-owned, but for company-owned clinics, it will reduce somewhat, not entirely, but it will reduce somewhat the machine wear so that it's possible. This is really intended for like when there's no clinic employees logged into the game. We still need to make it possible for people to process corpses and stuff. So now that is proper, and I want to make sure that it'll take the limb. And yes, it does. So I've done now the both sides of the test. I verified that the clinic will not take the mechanical limb, but it will take the biological, and I did the reverse test on the refinery. I'm happy this is working properly. So let's move on. Let's go into the pub. And while I'm at it, let's go ahead and recycle my empty bottles. Let's get some replacements. Okay. After all, it's New Year's Eve. Okay. There will be a reboot soon. In about 50 minutes or so, I think. No, 26 minutes after the next hour. So it is, right? Yep. We are at 1900 hours at 2026. I'm not military, so I'm not probably saying it right. But in any case, in about 74 minutes from now, we'll have game restart, and then this will cause all droids in the game to now inherit the changes that I made, that I tested with the hauler. So that'll be a good thing. And also, let's see what else we need to, what can we slip in before the next game restart? Let me think about it. So what can we do? Again, low-hanging fruit. Let me pull up my notes. I've been taking notes on some stuff that I need to fix in the game. Shield generator, you know, I'm kind of drawing a blank. I think I'm going to have a drink. I'm going to pause the live stream, pause the recording, and we'll come back in a little bit when I kind of recharge my batteries.